Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future home buyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Sports Talk with RNJ. I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio, and we have a bad story at Michigan. They have the sign stealing scandal that it started last week. It's been very, very controversial. And Justin, I got to ask you, how big of a deal is this right now for Michigan?
Well, this won't affect them this year because we are dealing with the NCAA, who take forever to bring out any type of punishment. You could, aka Kansas last week in that 6-year FBI investigation that turned out to be nothing. Well, should have been something more, but you know my thoughts on Bill Self. But for them, for this year now, future-wise, like I could see this turning up to be like the Houston Astros type thing. Like where, yeah, maybe some of the coaches get punished. Like Harbaugh is definitely at this point going to the NFL next year.
I think
a show clause.
He's getting the Bears job, I feel like.
I would, if I had to guess that, I think that's probably where he's most likely going to end up here. But so like this year, it's not going to affect them. Maybe in the future, we'll see. But like the NCAA investigations, they take forever, But for this year's team, I wouldn't really have to worry too much because even if the NCAA want to take them to court now, or they want, Michigan kind of hold it up and kind of wait till after the season. So I wouldn't expect anything like too drastic for this team right at this moment.
You said it won't affect them this year, but how much of a distraction will it be this season? Seeing the season they're having, being number 2 in the country, how big of a distraction will it be?
I don't know. And I think with Harbaugh, is going to have that mindset of us against the world type mentality. They've just gone out and and again, 8 seconds left. They punched in another touchdown last week against Michigan State. I think this team's they were wearing like free Jim Harbaugh shirts off the bus like the opening week when he did that like 3-game suspension. Like it's, I think Michigan's kind of just going to be like, okay, well, you can do it, but we're still the best team out there. So I don't think it'll be too much of a distraction unless for some, I don't think it'll distract this team too much, especially, they don't play Penn State till a couple weeks. Like till then, they should just absolutely continue to just murder teams out there.
Yeah, I mean they should. Yeah, until the Penn State game, they should beat up teams pretty good. But we've been talking about, it's not going to affect them this year, but will this affect this program going forward?
I could see it. And I kind of brought up the Astros thing. Like, I could see a punishment like that because I feel like there's been a lot of coaches that haven't really come out and spoke against them. Like, I think a lot of teams try to get away with some of this illegal scouting stuff. But the thing is, I think Michigan just got sloppy with it, with the ticket purchasing, using his name, the Venmos, the public Venmos, getting paid for it. Like, they're just very sloppy. And there's that video too of the Ohio State game where he's clearly looking at their sidelines and then telling the defensive coordinator what's going on. And you can see them pointing a sign to the defense, even though Ohio State did score a touchdown on that play. But this punishment, it depends. Like, it really depends if the NCAA really wants to set the tone. Then I think they will. If not, maybe you get a bowl ban. Like, I don't, you never know with the NCAA with these punishments because Michigan can fight it, and then the NCAA kind of drops everything, just like Kansas. They had 5 level 1 violations. Last week, the FBI said no, or the investigation came out and they had none. Like, it was, so who knows? But I could see it now. Again, it would stink for future players that this could be maybe affect them. But like, I feel like this could kind of turn out to just be like the Astros, where it's not too big of a point. I think it all kind of depends on what the NCAA wants to do. Now, I will say this could all be avoided if you just put a mic in the helmets.
I know, and that's the thing. Yep.
High schools do it, and with all the money these conferences are getting paid, if the MAC or Sunbelt don't want to pay, or Conference USA, then the Big Ten, SEC could use a little of that money and hand it out to those conferences and pay for it themselves because they're making more than enough money. Because I don't think it would cost that much to put like 4 mics into a helmet. It wouldn't, and this would not be a problem. But they're archaic, and I don't get it. So it all could be avoided. But yeah, I could see it being a problem in the future for this program. But we'll see. Maybe this is how they get the mics in the helmet from this situation. But let's hope.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy, and I don't know how much this goes on around college football, but for me, if you're Michigan, do you really even need to do this? You're the number 2 team in the country. It's kind of unnecessary to do something like this.
Yeah, last year, they did it, and they're definitely probably doing a little bit this year. This year, yeah, you probably haven't had the need to do it all year. I do because of like Sanders, like Deion Sanders was like we could we can give you our playbook. We're you still gotta go out there and stop it. Like, I know Shiano was kind of the whistleblower, that halftime thing kind of hinted at it, but like I feel like a lot of these teams, they do it, but they're not as sloppy. They don't maybe go to as far as Michigan does. So like I feel like a lot of these coaches do kind of try to push the line, but it's like it's like the Astros thing. Like, a lot of teams probably did what the Astros did. The Astros just took it a step further and got caught. So I think you do probably see a good amount of it, where teams kind of try to find their signals and all that. I'm surprised though teams don't try to switch it up week to week, but that's another story. But I could see it where I do think a good amount of coaches probably do it, and Michigan's kind of the one that's they're getting caught doing it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Very interesting story in Michigan, and this story is going to be going on for for a while. I'd say at least 2 years.
Yeah, I could totally see it. You never know with the NCAA. This could drag on for years and years, and it's kind of one of those things where maybe it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that happened like 4 or 5 years ago, and they come out the punishment. So yeah, the NCAA is very slow moving, and that is why they're a horrible organization. And I don't even know what they do anymore. This is about all they do.
Yeah,
that and deny waivers.
Exactly. Now let's get to the games this week. We'll start with the biggest game of the week as Oregon faces Utah. This is a playoff game. Both these teams have one loss. Both these teams have one conference loss. If the loser of this game is going to be very, very hard for them to get to the Pac-12 championship game. So this is a playoff game. But I'm going to take the team with the better quarterback here. Bo Nix is the better quarterback. I think Utah keeps up with them a little bit. Barnes keeps up with them a little bit, but I think Go Knicks outplays them. And I got Oregon winning this game 34-24. But Justin, can Barnes in Utah get another huge conference win?
I don't think so this week. I got 24-20. The Ducks taking it. Utah, they've won 29 of the last 30 home games. Their one loss previously was 2020, but before that, it was a 2018 Washington team that ended up making the playoffs. Usually, Ross Stockley Stadium is a stadium where QBs go to die. Like QBs going to that stadium never play well. They're pretty bad, and I think Bo Nix and that offense does enough because they get the ball quickly. And Utah really needs to force negative plays to get you behind the sticks. But I think it's to be very tough against a Ducks team that's going to get the ball quickly. I think Bucky Irving's going to have a good game on the ground. It's going to be a very physical game up front. I think Utah's going to stay in it because of that crowd. And Kyle Whittingham, outside of Saban and Kirby Smart, he's the third best coach in the country. Kyle Whittingham, the job that he's done there is remarkable.
Wow. So you'll definitely take him over Brian Kelly and Dabo and those guys?
Oh, yeah. Dabo.
I know. Dude, I know you're not a Dabo
That was a
guy.
mess. Kelly's good, but, I'll take Whittingham. I know year in and year out what I'm going to get out of Kyle Whittingham.
But he has not won a national title, though.
He hasn't. But Utah, that's a tough place to get a title. But look, I think Oregon does enough in this one. And, Bryson Barnes, I think he's going to have trouble. He played awesome last week. Whittingham was talking, he's a pig farmer. His family owns a pig farm. He's a walk-on. He went in there and, he said, I'll take our pig farmer quarterback better, more than the Heisman Trophy winner on the other side. But this is going to be a tougher game for the Utes. And I do have the Ducks keeping their hopes alive for the playoffs in the Pac-12 championship games, hope alive.
We will go to the Big 12 and got Oklahoma facing Kansas. And I think Dylan Brooks has a big game here. I think that Oklahoma, I think their defense plays pretty well too with Brett Venables. I know they struggled last week, but I think they stay undefeated. I got to beat Kansas 31-20. But Justin, can KU hand Oklahoma their first loss?
No, I got the Sooners as well, 35-28 in this one. Sooners have won 18 straight against the Jayhawks. Jason Bean, the backup for the Jayhawks, is more than likely going to get the start over Daniels again, who's unfortunately still dealing with that back issue. And I could see at this point maybe they do shut him down. I've heard it. I haven't read anything yet about that. But I think Kansas is going to have some success here on the ground, running the football. Oklahoma hasn't been great at stopping the run. Two of the best backs in the Big 12, Devin Neal and Daniel Highshaw Jr., I think are both could have two very good games on the ground. But the difference is Kansas defense is not very good. I think Dylan Gabriel kind of figures it out. Plays another really good game this week. And I think Oklahoma maybe, kind of was feeling themselves a little bit after that Texas game. I think Venable gets them back on track, but I think Kansas is going to fight hard and try to knock off the Sooners this week.
We got the world's largest cocktail party in Jacksonville as they're still playing the game in Jacksonville, right? Georgia, Florida.
Yep.
Okay, so as Georgia and Florida go at it this week, and for this game, I think Georgia wins it. I think they run the ball well. I think Beck doesn't make mistakes, and I think the defense forces Florida to make mistakes. I do Florida think they can keep it close for a half, but I think Georgia pulls away in the second half. I got Georgia winning to 27-17. But two questions here: can Graham Mertz pull off the upset, and how much is Georgia going to miss Brock Bowers?
Yeah, I'll start with your first one. But Mertz, he's been playing really well. They've been getting the ball out quickly. They've been giving him a lot of kind of short routes. Guys have been getting open. Their offensive lines for the Gators is it's pretty good. They're going to face a good Georgia pass rush. He's looked really good this year, and he kind of looks very comfortable. They put up a monster number against the Gamecocks. He's really protected the football. This week against Georgia is going to be a very difficult test for him. And I think he's going to struggle, especially if they get behind early. I think he'll make some throws in this one, but, I think it could be a tougher day for him going against this Georgia defense. And then for the Brock Bowers, your second question, I really like the way Carson Beck's played the last couple of weeks. I think he's starting to gain a lot of confidence. They got, McConkey's back, Ladd McConkey. But Bowers is kind of the guy for him that you saw in that Auburn game. When he needed a play, he got him the football. And right now, Georgia's running game hasn't been great this year. They don't have a lot of depth at the position right now. middle of the pack of running the football this year. Like McConkey's really going to have to be the guy here that steps up. They're going to need a Missouri transfer, Dominic Lovett, to make some plays for this team. Like outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., Brock Bowers is probably the second best kind of skill position outside of the quarterback. He's like the second best player in the country, I think. So I think it could be a tough loss for him because your next 3 weeks after Florida is Missouri at home, Ole Miss at home, and then you got to go to Knoxville. So we're going to find out a lot about Carson Beck in this offense. And I know they're hoping Brock Bowers comes back in the next couple of weeks, but it's one of those things where he could be a top pick. I know he wants to come back, but you've already won 2 national championships. Like, I know you probably want that third, but you might be inclined to take that money to, and be a first-round pick. But we'll see. I think it could be a big loss for Georgia if some of those other receivers don't step up.
We got BYU and Texas going at it this week. And I think even though Quinn Ewers is out, I think Texas still wins this game. I got them winning 27-13. I think Brooks does a good job on the ground. And I think Texas ends up winning this game 27-13.
Yeah, BYU is a very fluky 5-2. They've gotten some turnover margins. They faced some backup quarterbacks. They had Texas Tech's 4-string quarterback last week that they made it difficult for them. I got the Longhorns 38-14 in this one. Quinn Ewers, St. Andreas last year with that AC joint. I don't know how long he's going to be out. And the one thing about Sark that I do like, because I know I'm pretty hard on him, is he's really good at coming up with a game plan that's going to fit his quarterback. And Malik Murphy's a terrific athlete. He's a great runner. He's 6'5", like 235, I want to say. Like, he's a fantastic runner. He's tough to bring down. He's got a decent arm. I don't think you're going to see Archie Manning. I think, the red shirt's there, but like, it's something early. Like, if Murphy struggles, you're going to hear the Manning chants. So for Murphy, I think it's going to be big. And I think for Sarkey, I think he knows he's got to come out and have a solid game plan, kind of scripted first drive early to get Murphy in that game. And I think Brooks is going to have a big game on the ground as well. I think the option game could work very well. BYU's, not great defensively. And I think Texas should roll, and they bounce back after they got lucky to kind of get out of Houston after a bad kind of spot there to end the game last week. And I think Texas bounce back and blows out BYU this week.
Battle of top 25 teams in Louisville as Duke faces Louisville. I think this is a close competitive game, but I think I think Plummer makes less mistakes than Riley Leonard, and that's why I got Louisville winning this one 24-20 over Duke.
I got the Cardinals as well, 24-13. Jeff Brom in that Cardinals team coming off a bye here. I think 2 weeks to kind of script something up here. And Riley Leonard re-aggravated that ankle last week at Florida State. I think he's playing. It sounds like he will. And he's in the thing, and I've kind of said, a couple times we've talked about Duke, is it's his legs that what makes him kind of the quarterback that he is. He's still not great with the arm. That's still kind of coming. And this is a game where if his ankle's still bugging him, he did not move great laterally last week. I don't think he'll be able to again this week. And I think they're going to have problems. I think Louisville's defense will get after him. I think it's going to be a tough time for Duke, to win this game, especially coming off a tough loss where until Leonard got hurt, they had a great shot to win that football game. And when he went down, Dave Bevlin, it's just he's not ready right now. You can totally see it. They don't really trust him either with some of the play calling that they had. So I think the Cardinals win this like 24-13.
We got a matchup in Berkeley as USC goes to Berkeley to face Cal. And I think USC bounces back this week. And Caleb Williams has a big game. And I think USC ends up winning this one by 2 scores. I got them winning 34-20 to keep their very, very, very slim CFB hopes alive.
Limited Cal Golden Bears this week.
We say? Oh, my. No. You're
Yep.
going Cal? Wow.
Yep. The sounds like the flu bug is going around in LA right now. Lincoln Riley missed practice on Monday and Tuesday. Lincoln Riley did not want his players to speak to the media after the loss Saturday night.
That's a little
Lincoln
absurd.
Riley, very soft. His team plays very soft.
Yeah.
And now, how does a team respond after 2 losses like they just had?
Yeah.
Is it a team that comes out fighting and, or feel sorry for themselves? For how soft this team plays and how soft their head coach is, I feel like this is a team that's not going to respond and is just going to lie down and not play a great football game. You're going to sleepy Berkeley, It's not going to be a loud environment. You have to bring your own energy. And Justin Wilcox is usually a very good defensive coach. Usually they play very well at home. Their defense has not shown up the last couple of weeks. They're coming off a bye. I think Justin Wilcox is going to have these guys ready to go. They gave USC a run for the money last year. I think Cal and that offense is going to play well. And Alex Grinch, last week in that press conference after the game, he said he said we were surprised that they ran a wheel route. Like that got him beat, which is not true because Utah ran it multiple times a week before against Cal, and then said Bryson Barnes, we did not know that he was that good with his legs. He's been doing that all year, Alex Grinch. What are you watching on film? So I don't even know what Alex Grinch watches on film. So I don't know. I think Jalen Ott, their running back's going to have a big day. And give me the Cal Golden Bears. I'm out on this USC team. I've said it multiple weeks. I don't see this team bouncing back. I don't see this team fighting. I just don't. They're soft.
We've got a Big Ten matchup in Madison as Ohio State faces Wisconsin. And maybe Wisconsin keeps it close, maybe a quarter, but I think Ohio State pulls away. I think McCord manages the game. I think Ohio State defense forces turnovers against Wisconsin's offense. And I got the Buckeyes winning this one by 3 scores. I got Ohio State winning 31-10. Even though I'm not totally impressed with Ohio State, I got them winning at 31-10 over Wisconsin.
Yeah, their defense is absolutely elite, and that's why they win this football game. I got 27-10. No Tanner Mordecai, he's out. Locke, the freshman, is going to be a starter who he's been okay. They had a really good fourth quarter last week after Illinois, one of their better defensive players, got targeting call, which was pretty bad. That was not targeting. But like for Wisconsin to be successful, like if Brandon Allen could come out with a huge run, like in the first drive and put up a touchdown and get that crowd into it. Yeah, Wisconsin can maybe keep that thing interesting. They get a big turnover early. You got to get that crowd into it early. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that this week. I think McCord, plays well enough. Wisconsin secondary is okay. And I think, but you saw last week, whenever Ohio State needs a big play, they could just hit the easy button and just give the ball to Marvin Harrison every time. And I think Wisconsin's going to struggle to kind of contain him. And I think McCord's going to use him again whenever he needs it. And Marvin Harrison should have a big day. And I think the Buckeyes do find a win with that defense. It's not, may not be pretty, but they'll find a way to stay undefeated and, move on to Rutgers for next week.
ACC matchup in Atlanta as North Carolina faces Georgia Tech. Interesting game here between these two teams, but I feel like North Carolina is going to win this game pretty convincingly. I think they're going to bounce back and win this game convincingly. I got them winning at 34-17 over Georgia Tech. But can Georgia Tech and North Carolina? There's a second straight loss, and last week's loss is a stunner for North Carolina.
Yeah, but that's Mac Brown for you. That's been the Mac Brown experiment here in North Carolina. He always loses a game he shouldn't. His team, for whatever reason. And this Georgia Tech team is very, very streaky. Like they got blown out to Bowling Green. Then they go on the road and beat Miami. Then last week they give up over 560 yards of offense to Boston College. Like Georgia Tech, I think, has won 3 straight against the Tar Heels. Like Georgia Tech's had their number. There's going to be some belief in that locker room. But I think Drake May and that team bounces back. I think Georgia Tech's in a struggle against Tez Walker. And I think North Carolina's going to have a lot of success on the running game. Georgia Tech's really struggled in that area to stop the run. Haynes King, the Georgia Tech quarterback, Texas A&M transfer, he's got to protect the football, play well. But I got the Tar Heels knocking them off. I think they're going to play. I think they'll bounce back, play well this week. And again, probably not going to make the playoffs. They still got a chance to get the ACC title game and try to end Florida State's hopes there. But I think North Carolina kind of finds a way to end that streak against the Yellow Jackets.
We got a Pac-12 matchup in Arizona as we got Oregon State facing Arizona here. And I think this is going to be a really high-scoring game with 2 really good quarterbacks. But I think DJ Uiagalelei plays really well, and Oregon State wins it. I got Oregon State winning this one 34-30 over Arizona and keeping their playoff hopes alive.
Yep, I'm on the Beavers as well, 34-28. Yeah, Arizona, Jed Fish has done an unbelievable job. Noah Fifita, the quarterback coming in for Jaden Delorio, has been awesome. He's played really well, and it was a little surprise the first couple of weeks when Arizona lost by a touchdown to Washington and lost in double OT to USC, but This Arizona team's for real. They're going to pick somebody off. They still got UCLA next week at home. They still got Utah at home. Like, they'll pick one of those teams off. It could even be Oregon State Saturday night. But the way DJ's been playing, that offense has been running the football. I think the Beavers bounce back. And I feel like Arizona's coming off a bye. And the way they've been playing, I feel like it's one of those buys where it's a bad spot because of how well they've been playing. And, Pac-12 after dark, something always weird happens in one of these games. But I do think the Beavers, the way the offense has been playing, I think they find a way to go on the road and survive in the desert.
Yeah, it should be a very, very interesting game. And then the Pac-12 is clearly the best conference in college football. There's no doubt. I'll give that to you. There's no doubt.
Yeah. The quarterback play.
It's the quarterback play, and it's sadly it's the last year. But yes, the quarterback play makes a difference.
Yeah. The Oregon State and Washington State sounds like they might be a Pac-2 alliance here for a couple of years. So the Pac-12 may not be completely dead yet. It may be the Pac-2 the next couple of years, but sounds like they might try to get some of those Mountain West teams in at some point. But it stinks that all these guys are going away because I think 11 of the 12 or 10 of the 12 starting quarterbacks are like transfers. Or now it's 9 because Nafita's taking over Deloria at Arizona. But it's been like mostly transfer quarterback kind of starting here. And it's been really impressive to see, these teams. And every week now to the end of the year, there's going to be a game or two that's going to have huge implications for the playoffs and the Pac-12 championship game in this conference. So, it stinks it's going away. But, it's been – I don't remember the Pac-12 being this, this like top heavy. It's been a while.
Yeah, exactly. All righty, so the NBA season began on Tuesday night. But before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionsct.com.
All right, the NBA season tipped off on Tuesday. We had a doubleheader last night. In the first game, the Bucks beat the 76ers 118-117. And the big question with the Bucks, they went out, traded for Dame Lillard. The big question for the Bucks going into this season is, are they the best team in the Eastern Conference? And I think they are. I think they are because if you're drafting a team, like compare them to the Celtics. If you're drafting a team, you're taking Giannis first, then you're taking Tatum, but then you're taking Lillard. So two of the top three players between those two teams are on the Bucks. I think their bench is a little bit better too. That's why I would say the Bucks should be the favorite to win the East.
It's very close. For sake of argument, I got the Celtics finishing as a 1 seed. I really like the way – I know it's one game, but I really like the way Porzingis played the other night against your Knicks. Now the thing is, could he stay healthy? I know that's the big question mark. They got Drew Holiday, who's a great plug and play guy. You can kind of do a lot with him. I like Derek White. Payne Pritchard's decent off the bench. Tatum's a star. We know that. But I think the Suns might be a little bit better than them. It's very, very close. Like I think either one, like they're gonna finish like a game out of each other. But I'm gonna take the Celtics right now, just a little bit more than the Bucks, but it's very close.
Yeah, it is very close between the two. Oh, very close. I mean, they're clearly the two best teams in the East. I know Miami won the East last year, but they're clearly the two best teams in my opinion. They're two best teams in the East. And also the Bucks have a first-year coach, Celtics with Mazzulla, so there's not really a coaching mismatch there from either side. So it's really, really close between these two. I would not be surprised if either get to the finals, but I just have to go with the Bucks by a little bit.
Yeah, I can see why, because I think Lillard's going to make a huge difference for that team. You kind of saw it last night, late in games. You got a guy that could kind of hit big shots for your late. So, yeah, I could see why. With the Bucks and like the coaching differential or mismatch. Yeah, it's very small. Again, I can't imagine Griffin could be any worse than Budenholzer because he was just so bad. But you never know. So that coaching could kind of help the Bucks as well. But yeah, these two teams are really, really good. And then there's, then you get that third team who's kind of it's like a drop off. So yeah, the Bucks and Celtics are kind of on a collision course there for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Absolutely. Another question is, let's go now move on to the Sixers, who lost to the Bucks last night. And the big question for them is, will Harden be a Sixer at the end of the season? And I'm going to say no. I think he gets traded at the trade deadline. I think the Sixers keep him until the trade deadline, but I think he gets traded at the trade deadline. But he will be hard to trade because realistically, no one wants him. Teams want like a couple first-round picks for him, and no one's going to give a first-round pick for James Harden right now.
Yeah, you'd be pretty dumb to do that because he likes to burn a fire wherever he's been, or wherever he wants out of. Yeah, Harden is a mess. I heard the Clippers are like the team that wants him. Now, him and Russell Westbrook would be very fun to watch. Like those two, they want the ball in their hands.
They played together. They played together in Houston. They played together in
OKC.
They played together in OKC. So they've played together.
They have. At this point in their career, it'd be fun to watch. But yeah, I would avoid James Harden with a 10-foot pole if I could. I would not want him on my team. I think he's a giant cancer to a locker room. So yeah, I'm with you. I think he gets traded, and maybe it's sooner rather than later because they didn't even let him travel. So maybe they are closer to something. To dealing him now, maybe. But yeah, I think he's gone by trade deadline. I don't think there's any way he's on this team by March.
Yeah, after what he called Daryl Morey, absolutely, he's definitely gone.
Yeah, absolutely. And any team that's crazy enough to trade for him is, you deserve you deserve whatever happens if he wants out in the next, in a week or so in the offseason. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and yeah, it might be a good thing for the Sixers to get him off of that team.
Absolutely. So the Lakers beat the Suns last night, 195. But really, the questions with those two teams is who is a who has a better chance to compete with the Nuggets? Who's a bigger threat to the Nuggets in the Western Conference, Suns or Lakers? And the Suns lost last night. I'm definitely going to say the Suns with Bradley Beal, with Devin Booker, who didn't play last night. Beal or Booker didn't play. And obviously Kevin Durant's still one of the best players in the game. And even at this point, he's arguably as good as LeBron. And I think he's going to be used more than LeBron because LeBron's going to be on that minutes restriction. Now, they didn't really they played him more in the fourth quarter last night, but with LeBron being on that minutes restriction, which is a possibility, I'm definitely going to say the Suns. I definitely think the Suns are definitely – and the Suns gave the Nuggets a better series last year without Bradley Beal. So I'm definitely saying the Suns. The Suns gave the Nuggets their best series in the entire postseason last year. They took them to 6. No one else took them to all the other teams. The Heat lost in 5. The Lakers lost. They got swept. I'm trying to think who they played in the first one. I think that they beat the Timberwolves in 5. So – yeah, to me, the Nuggets are the Suns have the best chance of have a better chance to compete with the Nuggets than the Lakers do.
Yeah, I'm with you too with the Suns here. Yeah, without Beal and Booker last night, like they still only lost by 5 to the Lakers. Like the Lakers really, and they won that game too because Durant kind of just ran out of gas there in the fourth quarter too. Like they only scored 11 points. Like, and I think I think the Suns got a little bit more depth now. Like I like Yusuf Nurkic coming in. They got Eric Gordon, Grayson Allen's,
Yeah,
very
they
streaky.
need to trade Ayton. That was a good trade.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I think it's going to help their depth here, especially when they get a couple of their starters back here. Um, so, and I know like they got Bull too, who's kind of on a mid restriction. I know he didn't play last night, but he's like a good kind of backup option there. Who's going to help on the defensive end of the floor with his shot blocking ability. So, yeah, I think right now the Suns are the better one. I know the Lakers, they got some depth, but like you never know you can get out of D'Angelo Russell night in, night out. He's very consistent. And AD the other night, he got shut out in the second half. Like you don't know what you're gonna get out of him either. So right now, I think the Suns right now are a little bit better than the Lakers to be a bigger threat to the Nuggets.
Yes, I definitely agree there. Now, Wednesday night, Victor Wembanyama made his debut for the Spurs. They lost. They ended up losing to the Mavericks in their first game. But the big question is for the Spurs is and Wemby, can Victor Wembanyama carry the Spurs to the postseason? I don't think so. I would even say, and that question means the play-in tournament. So I still don't think so. I just don't think that team's good enough. And Wemby, Wemby was pretty good, but he wasn't dominant in that game. So I would say no. I don't think that Wemby can carry the Spurs to the postseason.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't either. There's some talent around this team, but like outside of like Devin Vassell, there's not a lot there right now. And um, I think it's gonna be tough. He had the same exact stat line that Tim Duncan did his first career game too. So another like weird little kind of weird thing that happened. But look, I think this team, they still got a lot of work to do. They're still kind of building that foundation and kind of this new core here. So um yeah, like I don't see this. I think this Spurs team's gonna have a hard time getting to at least 30 wins. And I know too, they're gonna take it easy on Wembanyama too to kind of get him used to this league and all that. So he's not gonna play in all the games. So I feel like too, the Spurs, still another year away from kind of being there. They got to get another draft pick, maybe spend some money this offseason to get it kind of another top player to kind of come in and play with Wembanyama. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna make the in-season tournament just yet, or the play-in tournament just yet.
Alrighty, so now we are going to give our sleeper teams. First, we'll give our sleeper teams to compete for the playoffs in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. And for me, they actually played each other on opening night. But for me, it's pretty easy in the East. It's the Magic. You got Paolo, you got Franz Wagner, you got Cole Anthony coming off the bench. I think the Magic are the team. They're that sleeper for me in the Eastern Conference to make to get into the postseason, to maybe get in the play-in tournament and get to the playoffs. And then in the West, this might surprise you. I'm going to go with Houston because of Ime Udoka and some of the young talent they have. I know they got crushed in their first game. With some of the young talent they have, with Jabari Smith, with Jalen Green, with some of the young talent I have, and they got Fred VanVleet, I'm going to go with Houston as my sleeper. And they got a head coach. They got a team to the NBA Finals 2 years ago. I'm going to go with Houston as my sleeper in the West. So in the East, it's Orlando. In the West, it's Houston.
Yeah, Houston, that's a good one. That they definitely got some young talent there that you could kind of see getting, yeah, I think that team's gonna be better than what they played like the other night. But yeah, with the Udoka and some of the young talent, with VanVleet, yeah, I totally see them being a sleeper there. I got the same one too as you for the East. I got the Magic. That team started last year 5-20. They ended the year going 29-28. Like this team got better towards the end of the year. I think Fultz running that point guard spot. I know he hasn't like totally been like lived up to like be a number one pick, but without him last year, they were 5-17. With them, they were like 5 games over 500. So with him, and I like, you mentioned, they got Wagner, Paolo Macaro had a really nice rookie year. I really like their starting 5 there. And I think they do got some depth options. So I really like that Magic team. And I think they could they're definitely a sleeper there. They're going to put up a lot of points. And I feel like they get enough stops defensively. They're definitely going to be a tough team to beat in and night out, especially in that Division 2 where you got Atlanta, Miami, and then you got Charlotte and Washington, who are not very good and be at the bottom of the barrel. So I could see them kind of picking off some games there and kind of being able to win some division games to get them in there, get them in like a playoff situation too.
Now, my sleeper to win to compete for the championship, I'll start with in the Eastern Conference. I'm going to go with Cleveland. I know it was close between Cleveland and the Knicks, but I feel like the difference is Cleveland has that guy that could carry you, that could take that last shot, and that could help you pull upsets in playoff series. The Knicks don't have that guy. The Cavs do. I know the Knicks beat the Cavs last year, but the Cavs had that guy in Donovan Mitchell. I feel like Evan Mobley could be improved this year. So I think the Cavs, they're my sleeper in the East. And then in the West, I'm going to go with New Orleans because when Zion is healthy, this team is really, really good. They were really impressive on opening night. They got some really good players with Brendan Ingram, with Jonas with Valanciunas, with CJ McCollum. So I'm going to go with New Orleans. So I'm going to go with New Orleans in the West and Cleveland in the East.
So yeah, I got the Cavs as well here. I like what they did this offseason. Getting Max Strus and Georgie Yang. That was something they didn't have a ton of depth last year. They really struggled in that playoff series to shoot the basketball. And I think they got a little bit more talent around them now, around Mitchell. And yeah, I think he's good enough here to kind of, as you mentioned, to pick, a Celtic or Milwaukee out, and knock them out of the playoffs. So and I think Obi Toppin too, like, I don't think he ever fit that with Tom Thibodeau because he was not good enough defensively. And I think Cleveland's a much better fit for him. And I think he could have a better year playing with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, or no, he's on Indiana. What am I saying? I don't know why I had him on Cleveland, but I still think with Chris LeVert as well coming off the bench or at shooting guard as well. I just think Cleveland's got some better shooters this year, and I got Cleveland. I think they could have they got a really good young team. And my other one in the West, I got the OKC Thunder.
That's a good one.
I think they're this year's Sacramento King, where they're like
really?
the three
I'm surprised
seed.
I'm surprised you didn't take your Kings though.
I think we're an 8 seed.
Really? After the way you guys played opening night?
I thought we were better defensively. I still don't. I still don't. I still need to see it. Like tonight against the Warriors is a big prove it to me night. But I love SGA again. He could be a guy that could win the MVP. Chet Holmgren's healthy this year. Like I think that's going to be a fun duo to watch this year. They got they got Jalen Williams, kid out of Santa Clara, who bursted on the scene last year. Like they got a lot of scoring options. They're going to put up a lot of points. I think defensively it's going to be a question mark for him. But I really like this OKC team. I think they're good. I have them finishing third in the West. Like I think this team is going to be very, very good. And I could see this team. I think they got the talent. I think they got the guard to knock off a couple teams when they're not careful. And I love this OKC team. I think they're going to be a big threat to teams out in the Western Conference this year.
Yeah, I think they definitely could be a sleeper. I would not be surprised if OKC makes a run. So now we are going to go do our NBA Finals prediction, and for me, I think the Nuggets repeat. And obviously the team who I think they're going to beat, like I said earlier, I think they beat the Bucks. So, in my NBA Finals, I got the Nuggets beating the Bucks. Justin, I know you got the Celtics in it. Who do you got in the West? Who do you got the Celtics playing?
I got the Phoenix Suns coming out of the Western Conference this year. I'll say Durant stays healthy, Booker and Beal do enough, and I think they'll knock off Denver this year. I think in the Western Conference Finals. And in my finals prediction, I'm going to take the Phoenix Suns to get it done. I think Durant gets another ring here. I think Booker gets his first along with Bradley Beal. I think their depth's better this year. I think defensively they're going to be better this year with Nurkic and Bol as well. I think they're going to be better. And I think Phoenix, they spend a lot of money here, and I think they get rewarded, and I think they find a way to knock off the Celtics. I'll say they win at 6 games.
Yeah, if Durant wins it, a lot of pressure on Durant this year. He's got to win that ring without Steph Curry. If he can win that one without Steph Curry, that's really going to help his legacy.
Yeah, it absolutely will. It definitely will. And yeah, to kind of be that guy in Phoenix, and I know he's got a pretty good team around him with Booker and Beal, but yeah, if he can win one without Golden State and finally kind of get one after his chances in OKC. I know the Brooklyn thing kind of went downhill there very quickly, but yeah, if he can win another one, that'd be huge for him because he does need that other ring. He's got to get one as he's kind of the guy. So yeah, absolutely. It's a big one for his legacy.
Now to wrap up, who's your MVP? Mine is Nikola Jokic because it's his league. Best player on the best team. right now it's Jokic's league, so he's my MVP this year.
Yeah, I got same as you. I'm going with Jokic. I thought last year he got robbed of it.
That was ridiculous.
With Embiid.
That was absolutely ridiculous with Embiid winning it. Yeah.
Yep. That it was, and I think and Jokic, he's a triple double machine. Like he could just wake up and just crawl out of bed. He'll go get you a triple double. You saw it the other night, the way he could kind of distribute the ball. Huge Jokic fan. I think after last year, I think he'll win another one, because that Nuggets team's gonna fish right up towards the top of the Western Conference. So I'm gonna say Jokic again. He's the best player right on the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. He is definitely the best player in the NBA. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking about the World Series, Week 9 of the NFL season, and Week 10 of the college football season. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Vince 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.